Hello, my name is Dr. Wilcox, and welcome to Music 133. Now, this live event is just to give you a chance to meet me, to hear my thoughts on the class, and to answer any questions you might have as you proceed through the class. Really, it's just to put a human face on a class that, being online can feel a little inhuman at times. So I want you to feel free to ask questions. We're posted here in the forum. So if you have questions, you can type them below and I will answer them as they appear. Also, if you choose to join later, feel free and I can post up a link if anybody is interested. What I wanted to do briefly in maybe 20 minutes here tonight is just talk through some of the basic things you need to do to get started, because getting off to a good start is very important. Sorry, this came right in the middle of my dinner. That's the way life works sometimes. But it's making me a little... Okay, so what I'm going to do is just kind of show you the beginning of the course and talk about a few of the elements just to get you going, and then talk a little bit about Unit 1. And if I don't get any questions, then feel free to type them in later, and I will be checking along to see if anybody has some follow-ups. Okay, so here is Unit 1. Here is the course home, and there's a couple things I want to point out, and these are important things that you do not want to miss. The most important thing immediately is that the Unit 1 deadline is Thursday, June 11th at 11:59. Welcome if you're just joining us. So you want to keep these due dates in mind. But that being said, this is the summer and people go on vacations with their families, people work extra jobs. I understand that summers, in some ways, because there's more free time, they can be more complicated than the semester. So if you have an issue with your schedule, contact me. I'm totally open to hearing your concerns or your ideas. There's certain things that are not particularly flexible, but other things are, and feel free to contact me about that. So again, obviously, read the syllabus. And this little video I made with course expectations does a good job walking you through some of the main important things about this course. We don't require you to have any musical training. It certainly is helpful, but it's not required. We ask you to do the creative projects. The creative projects are required, but we don't require you to be particularly good at it. This is just your chance to kind of play around with sound, play around with musical ideas, and whether you create something that's professionally sophisticated or just good fun, or just your best attempt. That's totally fine. We just want you to have the experience of making music. The next thing I want to point out is the Piazza Forum. Now, we want you to sign up to this forum because it's really an easy way of collecting data. You can see all questions from any student. You can answer other students' questions. This is a nice way to keep things centralized, and it's possible for me to do these sorts of live events in there. So if you feel like joining the forum, I highly recommend it. I remember, again, we're doing a welcome live event, and this is live. I guess it's about 9:34. So if you have a question, you can feel free to type it into the questions right underneath this video, and I will be checking that periodically to see if anybody's got something that's on their mind. So join the question forum. That's a good thing to do, and introduce yourself, because I am interested, especially over the summer with small numbers of students. I'm interested to find out who you are. So on that note, a little about myself. My name is Stephen Wilcox. I'm a composer, and I guess my day job is instructional designer. So I teach music online, and during the day I make online courses for UC Berkeley. So those are my jobs in my two worlds, and I also blog about music and technology issues. So this is what I do with my time, and I like California, though I'm from Philly. Uh, and so about little about me now. Now I'd very much like to know something about you. So please go ahead and introduce yourself in the forum. Okay, so one thing I wanted to talk about is this whole Proctor track thing. Now, the fact of the matter is it's a requirement not just from our school, but from the government. We need to check and make sure that the people who are taking the quizzes or the tests are actually the people who are signed up in the class. And as we move forward, this will become more and more important, just as you move forward through school, and probably for the next 10 years. As there's more and more degrees that are offered fully online, more and more companies will want to know that the people who they're hiring actually got the degree, actually did the work. So this is kind of a standard thing. That being said, even though it seems creepy, it's really not that bad. If you were sitting in a classroom, a professor would be in the room watching you. This is not even that bad. All this is a computer algorithm. So the computer algorithm watches you, and if it thinks something is weird, it'll ping me and ask me to take a look. So the kind of things I get pinged for is if someone's walking around in the background, if there's music playing. I've had instances where students are reading the question aloud to themselves or even chewing gum, and it'll think they're talking to someone. And it takes me like 2 seconds to go open it up and go, no, they're just reading the question. And that's it. And if, I might get maybe 10% of them pinged. And of those, I haven't had a single instance of honest to goodness cheating. Though, since ProctorTrack has been used broadly in the division, there's a couple people who've had friends sitting off camera and kind of coaching them through the test. And that's like really obvious. You shouldn't do that. And also there's been lots of people who've been like searching the net. And I can see it'll show me a screenshot of everything on your screen if it thinks you're doing something flaky. So just don't do that, because I can see what's on your screen. So don't show me what's on your screen. Don't show me things like that. And then there won't be any issues. Really, it's really not that bad. And luckily, the exams aren't worth that much in this course. I tend to make the homework assignments worth a lot because you can take the homework assignments over and over and over again until you can get it right. And hopefully, if you do that by the time you're ready for the exams, which are just built from the same question pools as the homework, you'll just be able to knock them out. But even if you don't do well on the exams, there's so many points to be made doing other things that you can improve your score. So always remember, work on the homework, ask questions. And again, if you work steadily every day, you'll definitely see a better result. If you try to do everything for a unit on the last day it's due, even if you make it through, you probably won't have learned it very well. And this course sort of builds on itself. Unit 1 and builds into Unit 3, 4, 5, and 6. Unit 2 on rhythm is sort of its own entity, but it's one of the harder units. So again, I just encourage you to work steadily. If you work steadily, you won't have any problems. If you try to rush it, it could be really crammed, and then it could hurt your ability to work on other things. And that being said, Unit 1 and 2 is, in some ways, because they're kind of the introductory lessons on pitch, high and low notes and rhythm, musical durations. The majority of the points for the course, I think more than half of the points for the course are in that first 2 units. So you don't want to slough things off at the beginning. If you want to, get lazy, get lazy later on. So you've gone through the getting started. You've taken the ProctorTrack onboarding quiz that'll walk you through loading the software on your computer and installing the software and setting up an account with ProctorTrack. Again, I know that's not always the funnest thing to do, but there is at least one good thing about that is if you have to be proctored, it's nicer that it's in your home as opposed to somewhere else. Piazza seems to be down. And it's also a lot cheaper. Proctorship is way cheaper. If you were to have 4 one-hour proctor exam, live proctoring, it could be a couple $100. This is so much, it's more convenient and it's cheaper. So I know it's a pain, but if they're going to make us do proctoring stuff, if the school is doing proctoring stuff, I think I definitely recommend that you just go ahead and do it and get used to it, because this is just the way things are going to move into the future. Now, I'm going to assume there's no questions because Piazza doesn't seem to want to reload. I have a pretty good internet, so I'm not quite sure why that is. But so let's look a little bit at Unit 1. Boy, nothing seems to be loading pretty well anymore. Hopefully this is still working and not completely stopped. That would be kind of a bummer. I have no way to see if this is still going. Well, we'll take a little break. I know there's at least a couple people watching here, and I'm just going to see if I can confirm that we're still on. So hopefully that's not tremendously boring, but it does seem, I'm becoming very suspicious that we were not on. Well, let's kill a bunch of these pages. It's probably just one of these pages is messing up everything.